What's going on, everybody? It's your boy ACGL Scara, and we're back with yet another ACGL breakdown. Today I'm joined by Pro COD player Tiano. Tiano, please introduce yourself. How are you doing, good sir?
Hey Scara, how's it going, man? So obviously my gamer tag's Tiano. A lot of people know me by my full name, Cristiano dos Ramos, and just do a little bit breakdown about myself. I'm a full-time businessman, a husband and a father, and my passion is obviously for gaming and esports.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for that. It's really interesting to hear that. I just want to touch on that quickly. You just mentioned you're a father, you also have a full-time job, I assume, and you're also a pro gamer. How is balancing all of that? I just want to understand that quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely not a walk in the park. I know Holden likes to mention sometimes you're stuck between a rock and a hard place most of the times. Obviously, first priority is your family, and then gaming has to take a back seat, unfortunately. So I do a little bit of time management. Whatever opportunity I get, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes, even at lunch sometimes, I hop on COD Mobile and I try to get in what I'm essentially missing out on, as opposed to other people that can grind 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Maximum I get is 2 or 3 hours a day at max. So it is challenging, but whatever opportunity or time I get, I make sure I make the most out of that.
Love to hear that. I mean, so far from what I've seen, it seems like you really have found that sweet spot on how to manage your time really well. So I really love to see that for you. But one thing I'm also curious about is, how long have you been competing in esports, and how has your journey been along the way?
Okay, cool. So I started competing in esports on Call of Duty Ghosts. I think that might have been 2013. Yeah, it was on Xbox 360. Yeah, it was on Xbox 360. Also dipped my fingers in FIFA just before that, but it was only for a couple of months. But the FIFA community is such a sweat fest. Those guys are insane. They are, dude. So Call of Duty Ghosts, played that obviously for the year, and then whatever title came out thereafter, I think it was Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and so full-on Call of Duty console player. Always loved the franchise, always been passionate about it, and and then 2019, 1st of October, Call of Duty Mobile came out, and the rest is obviously history.
History indeed. And I'm actually going to touch on some of that history just now, but yeah, I really love to see how you kind of stuck to what you came into the gaming scene with. You started off on COD Ghost, and then you still carried on to COD Mobile. It's like you just really love the Call of Duty brand, and it's just really stuck with you. I really love to see that consistency coming out from you. And I mean, 9 years, almost 10 soon. I mean, that's a lot, man. That's insane.
It's a lot, bro.
But yeah, moving on. Recently, you took part in the first ever COD Mobile LAN held locally at Empress Palace. What was it like winning the Iverson Gaming tournament with local artist Nasty C, as well as the co-owner of Carryfirst, looking on at the event while you won it?
Yeah. Scara, I think just an absolute blessing, dude. There's moments that you'll never forget about. We waited 3 years. Obviously, we had, unfortunate COVID for 2 years. So mostly all the tournaments were online. There was no such talk about any LAN happening soon for Call of Duty Mobile. And then thankfully to Carryfirst, and obviously you guys at ACGL, you blessed us with the first in live, event LAN with the free for all at Empress Palace. And, the brand collaborators, Nasty C, that social media presence, just getting out, the advertising for that tournament. And I think we had 54 individual players, if I can recall correctly, that signed up for that tournament, which is amazing considering that it was advertised I think 2 weeks prior to the event, which is short notice usually. But otherwise, bro, what a feeling, what a surreal feeling. I know I mentioned there at the event, I'd sold my gaming phone before that, and for 3 weeks I never had any practice at all for leading up to the event. Obviously I didn't know the event was going to be held, the 3 weeks thereafter. And my current phone that I'm using, my Asus ROG Phone 6, it came the Thursday, literally the day before my flight left, on Friday morning at 4 a.m. in the morning. So it was. I had a lot of gray hairs. I can tell you that much. You can ask my family. I mean, the gray hairs were sprouting. I was anxious, obviously, because such a big event. I've waited 3 years for this event, and I've got no practice at all. So it was stressful, but yeah, I mean, it was a grueling tournament. Amazing competition. Obviously, top tier South African players. I couldn't have wanted to go any other way. And yeah, it was surreal, and it's something that I'll remember for a very long time.
You know what? I couldn't agree more. It was such a surreal feeling to just be in such an environment, one where you have people that are watching on, cheering on, supporting you, and then you also have some of the best COD Mobile players locally, you know, on the same stage with you as well, competing alongside you. And I mean, I can't imagine like how nerve-wracking it must have been as well, coming up against one of your teammates, Devoid as well, who also seemed to be one of the favorites to win. I mean, he was also doing extremely well, but I mean, for you to just pull such a result again on short notice, you know, you weren't really as prepared for it, but for you to be able to pull such an amazing result from that, I mean, it's something that has to stick with you, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, it definitely does, Scar. As you mentioned, obviously Devoid. I don't think he lost a group stage game, even a semi-final, up to semi-finals. You know, leading into that grand final. So the man was on form. Obviously, he was playing on an iPad. Everyone knows how us mobile players feel about iPad players.
Yeah,
it's such a. We feel they're a lot boosted, obviously, because you know the screen is big. They've got time. You know, they can see a lot more. 120 FPS M1 chip for the iPad. So yeah, he was flying on all cylinders, frying on all cylinders, and yeah, I guess it came down to the nitty gritty of, you know, the grand finals and composure and timing, and it worked out. It worked out well.
It worked out well indeed, because you came out on top, and I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't have wanted it any other way. But congratulations again, once again on that. That was just such an amazing feat. But moving on, you know, it seems there's a hunger locally amongst the players to see growth going forward for the scene of COD Mobile, and brands like Carryfirst are starting to take note of that, as we see they're, you know, responding positively with popping up with events here and there. You know, I just want to know, where would you like to see COD Mobile or mobile gaming as a whole in the near future?
Scar, coming from a console background, in 2016 we got to experience that Mag Cup, you know, the Monster Astro Gaming Cup, and that was, you know, flagship quality, international quality. So being able to experience that firsthand, I would love that to happen for the Call of Duty Mobile scene specifically. Not too really clued up with the PUBG and the Free Fire and that. Obviously, I'm sticking to what I'm you know, familiar with. But I would love us to get to, firstly, for an African team as a whole, not just South Africa, but an African team as a whole, to be able to get a spot at Call of Duty Mobile Champs, which is obviously hosted every year. I think this will be the third year now, and you know, Africa, unfortunately, we haven't been given a spot past, say, stage 2, for example, you know, to play those game battles within the region, and you know, essentially then work our way up the ladder and get at least one spot, deserving spot. You know, because I can assure you, Scar, the talent in Africa, I'm quite certain we'll be able to hang with the greats in Europe and North America, and you know, potentially take the title, you know, one day. So that's all I'm asking for, you know, Call of Duty Mobile. Now that we have servers, perhaps next year, you know, they'll look at that and give us that spot that we deserve, you know, that we're so hungry and we desire. Because that's what we're playing for, is that international recognition, and you know, to make it on that main stage and really feel the whole atmosphere and play against the pros.
Indeed. I mean, as you mentioned, you know, we have local servers that were announced recently, and I think that also just has in turn needs to at least give us sort of a stepping stone towards actually getting towards getting that position that we all want in that champs. And I think it also serves as a way where they can start to see that there actually is a community. There is people here that are hungry to compete, that want to make it onto that bigger stage. And you said it yourself, you know, we have the players, we have immense talent. I mean, if people were at the Carryfirst event at Empress Palace, or at any COD Mobile event for that matter, they would actually get to see how talented the players we have are locally. And I think it's only a matter of time until we get that opportunity.
100%.
Indeed. So I think that's going to be all my questions for now, but I just want to know, do you have any final words or thoughts for people that are watching on, especially, you know, seeing that you have been in esports for such a long time? What would you give advice to anyone that wants to possibly work towards the position that you're in right now, or just, you know, maybe someone that's got into COD Mobile, they want to know, why should I continue?
Yeah, definitely. Scorer, to me, obviously, you know, 13 years ago or 9 years ago, whenever I started playing esports, there was no money involved in tournaments, no big prize pools as we have now. So it has to come down to passion. So for me, like, when people ask me, why do you still do it? I mean, I'm 30 years old. I've got a family, you know, wife, a daughter. Why do you still dedicate time to, to this, where you know that age is sort of against you. It's all about the passion. Whether you play soccer in real life or rugby as a sport, our passion is esports. So if you can do it, keep at it. Don't give up. Sometimes, Scora, I just feel like giving up. Honestly, like just putting my phone on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace and just selling it and just calling it dead. But I know that the passion is still there. It's obviously just the grind that's involved, that's required, which, in respect, anything requires a grind these days. You can't just hop onto anything and be the best. So to those out there that want to be that top tier level, they want to be recognized, start creating a brand for yourself, an image for yourself. Never give up the grind, and just have that passion that ultimately will lead you to the top, and you can be recognized within Africa, well, internationally, as one of the best players in the world.
Indeed. I mean, honestly, I couldn't agree more. That really touched the spot for me, because everything you've explained is really how my experience as well in esports has sort of gone. And for anyone that is listening onto this, just heed the words that he mentioned. It's all about your passion. It's all about the grind that you have. And if you're really passionate about something, you're gonna put an effort into growing in towards that, or just somehow making it something that you can do on a daily basis. And if you want to know if there's any proof of you actually getting opportunities in esports, Tiano's proof and I am proof. So but once again, thank you so much for joining me today, Tiano. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you today.
Yeah, same. Scar, sorry, I know we finished. Thank you for joining the scene, bro, and for being, the personality and the character. Obviously, the first time I got to experience you was Empress Palace in person. I'm so used to Nick Holden, dude, for all these years, and you're such a breath of fresh air, man. And I love your personality and your zest. I can't wait to see you, shoutcast and commentate at many more events to come, brother. Keep it up, man. Thank you so much,
dude. Thank you so much. I think that's been the first compliment I've got on the show. But once again, man, it's been such an honor and pleasure chatting to you. Hope you have a wonderful day. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been the ACGL Breakdown for today, and we'll see you in the next one.